After 4 years and a couple of false starts, Brisbane's set to unveil its grand plan for its Olympic stadium. So have they finally got it right?
Well, the controversy surrounding the new Snow White film explained. Could going woke be Disney's poisoned apple?
Plus, Reggie the Rabbit goes rogue. Oh my God, look at this. What's really behind this Rabbitohs mascot's wild outburst at a 9-year-old NRL fan? And I know it's crazy, guys, but when Albo puts on that costume, he just becomes another person.
We're live from the lands of the Gadigal people tonight with Steve Price.
Yeah.
Thank you. A lot of short people stories tonight. Yeah. Right in my wheelhouse. You can't wait.
Get the job.
All right, let's get into tonight's top stories. And ahead of its fourth budget and the upcoming election, the Albanese government finalised its Better and Fairer Schools agreement. All the states and territories are now on board after a deal was at last struck with Queensland for an extra $2.8 billion over 10 years. All up, $16.5 billion will be provided to fulfil Gonski funding targets set in 2011.
It represents the biggest new investment in public schools by an Australian government ever.
Victoria Police have released dramatic CCTV footage of what they say was a targeted shooting in Melbourne's northern suburbs last October. They've also released an image of the gunman they think lured the 49-year-old victim to the Fawkner address where he was shot in the ankle in broad daylight. The victim knew executed gangland figure Sam Abdurrahim, but detectives are yet to establish a motive.
We do believe that it was targeted. However, still, for this to play out at 9:30 in the morning is extremely concerning to us.
A new University of Sydney study has revealed children as young as 7 are being exposed to online gambling habits while playing the popular game Roblox. Wow. The study found youngsters struggle with complex and deceptive in-game payment features, which often leads to unintentional overspending. It's prompted researchers to call for serious regulation of all internet-based kids' games.
Better protections and better use of the regulations we have, in addition to regulating virtual currencies, would be a really great step in the right direction to protecting kids online.
And Teal MP Monique Ryan has been forced to apologise after her husband Peter was caught on camera removing one of her rival's campaign signs.
What are you doing?
I'm taking the sign down.
Yeah, beg your pardon?
I'm taking the sign down. It's a legally put up sign. Anyone can take it down because it's illegal. Anyone will take it down.
Who are you acting on behalf of?
I'm not acting on behalf of anyone, mate.
Oh, yes, you were.
Peter's also since apologised, claiming he believed the sign to be illegally placed, but it should have been left to council.
He's actually wearing teal in the video.
It's kind of romantic, don't you think?
No, it's ridiculous. The teals are supposed to be these nice, gentle, people concerned about the climate and all that stuff.
Yeah.
The husband's out there ripping posters off fences and then making up a story about how it was on public land.
Would you not do that for your wife,
Exactly.
Steve?
Love is love.
No, I would not do that. My wife. I mean, I was in that electorate today. Monique Ryan's got her mug up on a tram stop. I mean, am I going to go up there with a hammer and smash that?
Do you know what? I reckon tomorrow I could well see you at a tram stop.
You know what you do? You get a Sharpie and you do little devil horns.
Yeah,
that's the real trick.
Oh, you've been doing that. I've seen that already.
That is me. Yeah.
You're talking as though this never happens.
Oh, it happens every election.
Yeah,
Well, you don't often get caught with a massive sign in the middle of the street and pretend you're not Monique Ryan's husband.
I think it's beautiful. He's backing her. I think I would love my girlfriend to get on like the Current Affair Facebook page and be like, the project's better. Like that would be beautiful.
Apparently they're rebranding the Steels.
The Steels?
Yeah.
Oh, that's clever. God damn it. Now, guys, you need to have things you prioritise in life. We all know this. And when this bloke's neighbour's house in Adelaide caught fire, he showed what really matters most.
And being so close to home, what were you thinking?
Better move my car and make sure that everybody's safe.
Yeah, okay.
In that order.
I would not like to sit next to that guy on a plane. I don't think that would be fun.
Well, venues discarded, election pledges broken and one croc-infested river. Now, after nearly 4 years, the venues for the Brisbane Olympic Games are set to be unveiled. So, will this be third time lucky or another false start?
1,343 days since Brisbane was awarded the 2032 Olympic Games.
Even the most partisan person looking at where we are at the moment would acknowledge that it's been 3 years of chaos and crisis.
The Queensland Government is set to announce the long-awaited venue blueprint tomorrow. The the third and hopefully final iteration of the plan.
Yes, there's been a long time since we were awarded the games, but I do believe we've got a plan that can get the show back on the road.
Following a 100-day infrastructure review and nearly 4 years of dithering, political backflips, infighting, U-turns and false starts,
we look like novices at the moment, the way we're carrying on.
Nearly half the 14 venues in the city proposed by Brisbane when it bid for the Games are reportedly on the chopping block. The original opening ceremony venue, a redevelopment of the ageing Gabba, gone. Its replacement, Cusack, the smallest Olympic stadium in nearly a century, also gone. Instead, Premier Crisafulli, who went to the state election insisting there would be
no new stadiums,
is widely expected to backflip and support plans for a new $3.4 billion 60k seat Olympic stadium at Victoria Park, the largest remaining piece of green space near Brisbane's CBD.
A 60,000 seat stadium on that particular site will be just fantastic for the city.
Also in the plans, a state-of-the-art swimming centre and a rowing venue with a difference. The croc-inhabited Fitzroy River in central Queensland, expected to host the Games rowing events.
Good luck to them. Enjoy that one. We can handle some crocodiles, can't we?
Maybe we just don't tell them and they'll be right.
So with the clock ticking, can Queensland finally clear the hurdles to deliver a winning Olympic plan?
If the locals around Victoria Park don't want it, don't do it.
I think it'd be good for the area.
Poor crocodiles. All these people are going to be in there. It's terrible.
One way to swim faster. Former Queensland Premier Campbell Newman has signed an open letter calling on the Premier not to build the 60,000 seat stadium at Victoria Park. Campbell, why don't you want the stadium there?
Well, I want to be very clear up front, and thanks for having me this evening, that I'm quite in favour of a new stadium, but not in this location. And the background of this is really important. This was a park created right at the start of the city of Brisbane back in the 1860s, and the map behind me shows me when it was formally gazetted in 1875, 1877. And the trouble is that over 160 years, what happens is that you lose your park. And, wow, what the magic of live TV, but the thing is that there are alternatives, and there's been a headlong rush because poor old Premier Crisafulli's sort of been handed this sort of a hot one from the oven, and he has to make a decision real quick. But the trouble is that this is being rushed. There hasn't been proper consultation. I've seen more consultation, guys, than putting swings in a local park. Now, I was a former mayor of Brisbane, and we put more time and effort into consulting the community about those sort of things. And here, what we're about to do is destroy a great park. And really, the IOC shouldn't allow the state government to do this. So a true legacy for Brisbane is to go to an industrial, a brownfield site, and turn that into a thing of beauty and a thing of great use for the city and its citizens.
All right, the big question then, if you were Premier, where would you build it?
Well, my best location would be Hamilton North Shore. Why? Because it's adjacent to the major arterial road, the Gateway Arterial, so people could drive to the Olympic venue. We have the CityCat ferries already. We'd enhance that with new ferry services from the CBD. The planning, which I did as mayor with the then Beattie government, saw a railway line going into Hamilton North Shore. The Olympic Village is meant to be there. That was the original plan. It's close to the airport. You can also tie up some of the smaller cruise ships alongside the wharves there and have them as floating hotels. And there's a fantastic backdrop to the city. And there's been a design done, a great concept by an architect by the name of Noel Robinson. It's been out there as well. I want a place in the inner city, given we're going to have tens of thousands of new residents in the next 3 decades. I want a place where mums and dads can take their baby or their toddler, sit under a tree in the park, fly a kite, kick a football, and not actually have to sort of, make way for lots of concrete and lots of steel.
The world is watching here, Campbell. Do we just finally pull the trigger, give the Olympics to Sydney, Homebush needs a coat of paint and we're good to go?
Now, that will have me marching in the streets. That death before dishonour, that is an outrage. How dare you?
OK.
I don't want to insult you on your own show, but that is an outrage. How dare you?
Well, firstly, Campbell...
I'm with you, Campbell.
Me too.
Thank you for saying it's my show. I really appreciate that.
All right, Campbell Newman, thank you.
Thank you so much.
How very dare you?
He got a bit fiery then, didn't he?
He did. We're off to break. See you soon. Back with the project.
Well, once upon a time in a land far, far away, a lucrative film studio decided to remake one of its classics, but with a twist that some have labelled woke, others not woke enough. And spoiler alert, that studio did not live happily ever after.
A wish into the well, that's all you have to do.
In 1937, Disney revolutionised filmmaking with its first feature, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
It was kind of like this huge moment in history, which then went on to, shape all the movies that we have from Disney today.
88 years on, the studio has just released its live-action remake of the classic.
Magic mirror on the wall. Who is the fairest of them all?
And let's just say its new film is not the fairest of them all.
The movie is trash.
At this point, damn, give me the apple. Give me the poison apple, because I'm gonna fall to an eternal sleep regardless.
This live-action remake is just a mess.
Over the weekend, the movie, dubbed an AI-created migraine, and Disney's poisoned apple tanked at the box office.
With only $43 million opening weekend.
Brothers Grimm are rolling in their grave.
In quite the feat, Disney has ticked off absolutely everyone, from die-hard fans to those on both ends of the political spectrum. Its decision to do away with the prince and traditional romance.
There's a big focus on her love story. With a guy who literally stalks her. Yeah. Weird. Super weird. So we didn't do that this time.
Annoying those on the right.
Woke DEI bullshit. It's just a fairy tale movie. It's not about women empowerment. She falls in love with the prince. There's 7 dwarves in it. Just don't make the movie if you have to change all this stuff.
Speaking of dwarves, they're now magical people created with CGI, and that has angered the left and people with dwarfism.
Peter Dinklage from Game of Thrones came out and said that they found it was very problematic given how controversial and how hurtful this storyline could be.
You're replacing jobs that people could have as little people. Okay. Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs, it's for dwarfs.
And a narrator lets us know Dopey's name doesn't mean he's a dope, and we shouldn't laugh at Sleepy because narcolepsy is a chronic condition.
It's a modern fairy tale charm mixed with a side of social commentary.
Disney now trying to dampen down its Snow White dumpster fire by massively scaling back its marketing, cancelling its London premiere and limiting press questions to its stars. So, mirror, mirror on the wall, is this to be Snow White's downfall?
I'm sorry, my dear. Did I frighten you?
Oh, my God. Seriously? As the honorary chairman of the Dwarfs Union, they should just leave the 7 little fellas alone.
I know, give them
nothing
some
wrong
work.
with dopey and ugly and whatever they're called.
Grumpy.
Grumpy.
Yeah.
Grumpy.
Know him?
Yeah, I know.
You may want to learn the names of your union members, mate.
Yes. Hollywood people.
Yeah.
They've tied themselves up in so many knots trying to please everyone, right?
They're pleasing no one.
Why would you tackle it in the first place if it is so problematic? Leave it in the past if you think it's so problematic.
What was wrong with the prince? He was good.
You like the prince?
That he woke her from her slumber. So they're now saying that is there's no consent.
They're not saying that, are they?
Yes. It's rape culture, Pricey.
Fairy tale is what it's supposed to be.
I can't wait to see the comments on TikTok about our discussion about this segment.
Yeah, I agree.
People are going to be like, they don't get it. Oh, my God. Cancel the project.
And also,
we're
not
joining
my
the queue.
union rep.
Yeah.
We're off to a break. We'll see you soon.
Sorry, I just spilled water on myself, but that's okay. We're here to talk sport.
Yes.
Now, unless you're the Daily Mail writing a headline about the project, it's pretty much the most fun you can ever have. Now, it's a big, yes, thank you. It's a big weekend of sports, so let's get you all up to date. Let's do it. First off, guys, huge congrats to Aussie Oscar Piastri, who notched a big win in the Chinese Grand Prix. But the real superstar was the king of awkward interviews on the grid, my man Martin Brundle. He finally found his unicorn.
He's an unusual character. Hello there, Martin Brundle. I'm from Sky.
I'm Mr. Unicorn from China.
Wow.
I'm looking for the fastest man alive over here. Fastest man alive.
Yeah, is that what that says? Good to see you. Have a great...
Thank you so much.
Now, that is TV.
Yeah.
That is TV. You guys don't realise it, but Mr. Unicorn is actually a huge get. He's kind of like the Chinese cash cow. So it's a big time. Let's go to the AFL, where after a heavy bump, Eagles' young gun Harley Reid showed he's a fan of all birds.
About, I just caught the corner of my eye. Yeah, there's the middle finger to the crowd.
Bloke's trying to hand you some tissues, Calvin. Seriously.
Look at that, tissues. Not bad at all. Who takes tissues to the footy? That's crazy. You don't need them. You just need a scarf and a can-do attitude. That's it. And it turns out that footy fans, they're kind of an impressionable bunch.
Have a look at this as if it might have just hit the post. A little bit stiff
what do we got here? Oh, my. Oh, heavens. Also, guys, that's the signal for how many times Richmond will win this year.
Oi. We're going to win another game. That's a good year.
Big indeed. To baseball, guys, where this Blue Jays fan clearly loves nothing more than sitting front row and just hearing the beautiful crack of the bat.
Over there.
So here we go. Let's look at this guy in the crowd. He stood up here. What's he? Oh, no, mate. Oh, heavens. Did you see that? I believe, I don't know baseball, but I believe that's called third base. Or maybe a home bun. Apparently, they had to turn the lights out once the moon came out. Can I do one more, please?
No.
Look at that bloke's naked ass. Okay. Now to PGA Golf. Canadian Adam Hadwin, you'll like this, Bryce. He found the perfect way to cool down after playing a very bad shot. Oh, the greenkeepers are gonna hate him. He's trying to clean it up. Don't worry, though. There was a fan on hand, and he was there to help him out, dry him off. He's everywhere, that guy. Now, Pricey, I know for a fact you're a huge fan of men's amateur college wrestling. You're always talking.
Oh, 100%.
But you never miss it. Tell me, mate, what do you call this move?
Put himself in a position. What is going on? He's looking for the roll through tilt.
I haven't seen that one before. What do you think? I think it's called the proctologist. Either way, it's just good to see Ray Gunn has found some work at the wrestling coach. That's exciting. Finally, guys, to ice hockey, because there is nothing worse than travelling overseas to watch your team lose. So spare us a thought for this wonderfully fiery Scottish fan. And word of warning, guys, it gets a little bit blue.
I'm really sorry. I came all the way from Scotland. I thought the Leafs were going to win 2 games they lost. It must have been the fact that the guys were so overwhelmed at the size of my massive... They lost concentration. I am sorry.
That Mike Myers has still got it, am I right?
I love it.
That was.
She needs to be our mascot for the project.
Yes, I would love her out there. Everyone would get distracted, though. We couldn't have her.
Tune the project back soon.
2 reasons to watch.
It's emerging as an election battleground. New research out today revealing the effects of the coalition's vow to crack down on working from home. So could it be the issue that decides the election?
The opposition today on the defence over its election pledge to force public servants back into the office 5 days a week.
Work from home policy applies to public servants only. It doesn't apply to the private sector, and anything else is simply a Labor lie.
But it's not just public servants who will bear the brunt, according to new analysis from the ACTU. The union claiming a third of Aussie workers could be impacted by the flow-on effects of the work-from-home crackdown, mainly through increased traffic congestion. Labor vowing over the weekend to continue supporting the right to work from home, claiming forcing people back to the office would cost households about $5,000 a year in transport and parking costs.
Flexibility in workplaces has brought substantial benefits. This just shows how out of touch Peter Dutton is.
The PM labelling the crackdown anti-women.
It has increased workforce participation, particularly for women. Peter Dutton has said that, women can just go out and job share.
Work from home policy is not a gendered policy, and we've seen some egregious abuses of this privilege.
The coalition initially went hard on the issue.
I'm not going to tolerate a position where taxpayers are working harder than ever to pay their own bills, and they're seeing public servants in Canberra refuse to go to work.
Now, a more softened stance from forcing all public servants back full-time to returning to pre-COVID levels. Experts warning the work-from-home issue is fraught with danger.
People may think of Labor's position as being very supportive of those people who are working from home and having an easy life. Hang on, I'm working really hard, 8 hours a day in the hot sun, whereas you're at home having coffee and working behind a laptop. But for the Coalition to play this wedge strategy and then try and make it a white-collar versus blue-collar debate, it's just ignorant of where we are right now.
So could the work-from-home debate swing votes this election?
You might be thinking, hang on, this issue may only get 3-4% of the vote. 3-4%, though, in terms of a swing, will decide the outcome of this election.
Lauren Bernays lives in the outer suburbs of Melbourne and works from home full-time for an engineering firm. She's also a mum to 2 kids, aged 8 and 13, and she's with us now. Lauren, what would it mean for you and your family if you had to go back to the office full-time?
I think that actually would probably hurt our family quite a lot, actually, because I rely heavily on flexibility. So, that wouldn't just affect me in terms of, my career and how I am as a present mum, but my children and my husband. Just being a mum and everything like that, that would mean I'd have to put my kids into before and after school care. I wouldn't be able to show up to their after school activities because I'll be commuting. That would affect me a lot in that way as well.
If your company did force you back into the office, would you stay or would you quit?
Oh no, they'd know where I would stand with this. I would definitely leave.
Wow.
There would be no doubt in my mind.
So, Lauren, let's talk about the politics of this. The Coalition want to force 80% of federal public servants, so that's the ones that work in Canberra, back into the office 5 days a week. Now, that's not going to impact you. So does the policy that they're trying to introduce bother you?
I mean, I don't think it will impact me now, but, when they do things like this, I think this does end up impacting the industries. I think the fundamental responsibilities of a really great workplace and the workforce is around trust and respect, and that's showing neither of that to their employees. And I think what they're going to do in the end is cut out a lot of women in the workforce, since it's been known that we brunt the full responsibility of caretaking and so forth. So
I guess the thing is, Lauren, not all workers are like you, and as efficient and diligent. And this is a point that employers are making, is that they're seeing a productivity drop-off. They're actually seeing that, they say, in their workplaces. Can you understand why they'd be keen to get people back?
Yeah, no, I understand that completely. But then again, that's the thing about not a one-size-fits-all approach works. And, I'm not to speak out of turn, but that's almost a you problem, I think. I'd really like to see the facts behind that, actually, because if anything, what we've seen is productivity increase in our company, and I've seen that across the industry as well. So I would like to see the facts on that first.
Work from home, do you think that is going to be an election issue, a vote changer?
Yes, I definitely do, and I can see that from other countries.
What about you? Do you think it'll influence your vote, Lauren?
Yes, it would.
Say no more.
You and I reckon we should host the show from your place next week.
Sure.
Your lounge room.
He's got a great house as well. It would look fantastic.
Yeah. I've got it all set up.
You've got my house all set up.
I've got everything set up.
This is a huge bombshell.
We've got another conversation to have, Lauren.
I won't be coming.
That's right, not invited. Lauren, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
I think this is a vote winner for Dutton, not something that's going to cost him votes at all. I mean, he's talking about Canberra public servants. 36,000 extra have been hired during the term of this government. A whole bunch of them are sitting home in their leisure wear, tapping away at computers, not going to the office space that you and I pay to rent, which is still there in a lot of cases. So I think average workers, particularly frontline workers, would go, good on you. Make them go back to work where they ought to be.
I reckon there are 2 problems with that. One is, if it were a vote winner, they wouldn't be retreating.
I don't know they are retreating.
Well, they a minute ago it was like, you're all going back, and then it was like, actually, no, you'll just go back to pre-COVID levels. And so,
which is still 20%.
But that's a mistake then. He's got to hold his nerve and say, no.
Yeah, but all I'm saying is that's a sign to me that they don't think it's a vote winner. Because why would they retreat? And then why would they say, oh, you're mischaracterising our policy? No, they'd commit, they'd double down, and they're not doing that. Sorry. The other problem is a previous coalition government sold off a bunch of buildings that these public servants work in. So they don't have buildings to go back to.
I've got a solution to that. Cut the numbers of public servants.
Okay, but you know what?
You don't need buildings, you haven't got people.
And I understand this is very fashionable at the moment. And I'm sure you and Elon are extending a whole lot of texts. But the thing about it is, it's a tricky, maybe not text, maybe tweets, I don't know. But it's a tricky thing to do because history shows us when you keep cutting public servants like that, you end up hiring private, ends up costing more, and then you end up in a situation where you don't have accountability in the same way. So I just think it starts with public servants because he knows that's a convenient punching bag.
Oh, that's tough. I think that's a bit rough.
No, it's true. People. Well, you just took a swap.
They employed 36,000 extra in 2.5 years.
Yeah, great. But my point is, it's easy to have a crack at public servants. That's fine. But I think the problem is it's turned into a work from home argument that goes beyond public servants, and they don't like that narrative. Otherwise, they'd be.
You know when it's not easy to have a crack at public servants? When Pricey's fired them all. They don't guys, speaking of working from home, Senator Jane Hume, she's talking about it. She said there were heaps of examples of people exploiting the system, but it does sound to me like she's singling out one particular guy.
And we've seen some egregious abuses of this privilege. Things like somebody working from home full-time that ends out there driving a caravan with their family around the country.
A caravan, a loophole, a home on wheels. Nice try. But I think we actually have the image of the person in question. There he is.
It's all become clear.
It all makes sense now, doesn't it? It's all looped together.
You're in trouble.
I don't work for the government. You can't
watch
fire
out.
me.
All right, let's get some more news now. And a dramatic rescue mission in South Australia's remote outback has ended in success. 4 weary travellers who became trapped in floodwaters in the state's far north have been picked up and taken to Coober PD. They were found yesterday near Undata after 2 days of searching. The alarm was raised when they failed to arrive in Finke, just across the border in the Northern Territory.
They had vehicle troubles and decided to walk from the vehicle, something that we don't encourage people to do. It makes it much more difficult for searchers to find people if they are in this sort of situation.
And the NRL and South Sydney are investigating an incident involving the Rabbitohs mascot during Saturday's game against Cronulla. Footage shows Reggie Rabbit going up to a 9-year-old in a Sharks jersey, and instead of giving him a high five, he gave him a paw to the face and pushed him backwards. The boy also got a talking to from security.
I apologise if I did something wrong, but I don't think I did. Coming off the field, and he called me over. I went over like I normally do to make the kids happy, and then he grabbed me.
I think we need to throw to the old boys of Mascot Federation leader.
Well, this is true. Yes,
the only one on this desk.
I have mascotting experience, big game experience too.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And you always side with your brothers. I've got to side with the mascot. He's one of mine.
Did you ever punch a kid?
I didn't. But I ended up in a wrestling match with the Bulldog.
Whoa.
Oh. And then
was it inside that?
I've told this story before.
Yeah.
So he was a really good wrestler. And he was slaughtering me.
But you're a tiger.
And I was a tiger.
You should be able to handle it.
I know, and it's at the MCG in front of my people.
Oh, God.
And so I had to do something. And so I don't know what happened. He came at me and I just hit the ground to try to avoid him, and I grabbed him and I tried to, I don't know what I was doing.
Very violent.
And then I heard this roar right across the MCG. And then I got to my feet and I looked through my little mouth and I saw I'd ripped his head off.
And this was a child as well?
No, he was not a child.
Right, okay, thank God.
You said like that it's the worst crime a mascot can make.
The worst thing about this whole story is we just saw the man in the bunny.
Apparently Charlie's well known.
I know, but you've got to preserve the illusion to force him into that situation. So anyway, when I ripped his head off, there were a whole lot of traumatised kids. Because one thing I noticed is walking around.
And then he shot Bambi.
Yeah. Walking around the stadium dressed as a tiger, I could hear kids debating. That's just a guy in a suit. No, that's a real tiger. And then I just said, have this headless bulldog.
You're a dream killer.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's incredible. Wow. Guys, now the Prime Minister, he was out and about today. He had a big announcement on schools and he was keen to get everyone to focus on the topic at hand. But some of these goddamn pesky journalists found creative ways to school Albo.
Prime Minister, you've committed to legislate to protect salmon farming in Macquarie Harbour.
Okay, have we got anything else on the biggest schools announcement?
I've got one for the Premier that I'll tack onto the end.
Can we stick to, if there are schools questions? If not, happy to move on.
The School of Fish history.
He took the bait, didn't he? Bang. Got him now. Speaking of salmon farming, Jackie Lambie, let me tell you, she had a few things to say about it. And I kind of feel like she might have a personal vendetta against the salmon.
Was
because apparently that is what your government is prioritising tomorrow. Talking about salmon instead of talking about reducing our energy bills in this country. That's what we're talking about, a stinky little fish.
What? OK, we don't need nuclear power. We just need whatever Jackie's on right there, because that will power this country forever.
We are off to a break. See you soon. This is The Project. Our next guest has a fresh take on those fancy job titles.
I don't know how much you guys know about jobs, but this is probably the top job you could have, CEO. In a capitalist society, that's the best one. When I see that job title, I think, wow, CEO, that's an impressive and rich person. CEO, wow. When I see this job, pretty similar reaction, bit lower, bit more technical, I guess, than CEO, but CFO, still one of the top jobs. When I see the job CFO, I think CFO, wow. When I see this job, I just think, cool. Chief Operating Officer, yeah, operation of what? Pigeons?
Please welcome Tom Cashman!
I'm fuming. I wanted to do this interview on Zoom, but Steve Price demanded I come in and...
You're lucky he didn't fire you for whatever job you have.
It's a good thing you're not a public servant,
Exactly.
So you're touring around the country, presumably in person, not via Zoom.
That's correct.
Canberra, Perth.
Yes.
I think you've been to Adelaide, is that right?
Yes, I started in Perth, the tour, and humiliation awaits immediately.
In Perth?
Yeah, so I've been adding a few shows, which is a positive thing.
Yeah.
I did 2 shows on a Saturday, and because I haven't ever done like 2-hour shows back-to-back really before, on the first one I became quite sweaty because it's quite hot in Perth, and then like visibly like sweat all over me, and that's embarrassing.
Yes.
But that's fine. So then I explain it in that show, and then I kind of move on. But then there's like a 10-minute break, and then I have to start the second show sweaty as hell. And that felt like I was like cheating on the crowd because there's like evidence from a previous crowd on me, you know.
Yeah.
And then someone took a photo of that, and I thought that would be funny because it was a bit embarrassing. So I uploaded that to social media. But then to that like sweaty photo of me, I got like replies on social media, and I sent some of them to a producer. I think we have one here. This is a message I got from someone. You had something in your teeth show 1, and I really wanted to say something, but it was going so well.
At least it was going well.
So who cares about the sweat? So I replied. The next slide is me saying like, actually, they're like, yes, I'm so sorry. Like front right canine something red. So I was covered in sweat and had a thing in my teeth, and then the person was not done. They said, also, if you wear like a Bonds tank under your shirt, the sweat won't show up as intense. Can you believe the patronising nature of that X? That is the most patronising X.
It's helpful.
It's a little kiss after the fact, and it wasn't done. I got then another message from someone saying, yeah, I was going to try and make a signal to you, but then I felt bad. And they sent another message. I was in show 2. So both shows, I was covered in sweat and had something disgusting in my teeth.
So is the tour going... How is the show besides your personal state?
Another embarrassing thing happened on the tour.
Okay.
The show is going well separately, but I feel
that's nice to know.
obligation to share humiliating details. A friend of mine in Adelaide came to watch the show in the audience. That's traditionally where you watch the show from. And afterwards, she was like walking out with the crowd, and she was like eavesdropping on the crowd talking about me as the crowd left. And she heard 2 girls talking, and one of the girls said, it's weird he's single, he's cute, he must have a personality disorder.
How did they know?
Which one? Which one? The fun one?
I didn't get a description of the girls, but then my friend immediately tells me that, obviously, at the pub afterwards. And then my reaction was like, they said I was cute? Yeah. And then my friend was like, oh, no, you do have a personality disorder.
Now, mate, you've also just released a special on YouTube. It's called After the Fall, which I think relates to something in the show. How has that been? Were you sweating in that?
I was sweating in that. That's actually one of the only other times I've done 2 shows in a row with a 15-minute gap in between. And it was before the show. So I suppose a bit of a peek behind the scenes, if you're a stand-up comedian like myself, often the specials, you fund it yourself. So you've just paid to film it. And it better go well, otherwise you're just filming yourself bomb. Yeah. Like, just paid thousands of dollars for that. So then I did 2 shows. Often you kind of hedge your bets by doing 2. The first one, this was in Melbourne last year. It didn't go very well. And then then there's a break. And everyone tells you the second show is better because you're like more relaxed. But then that makes you less relaxed in the break because it's like, oh, I can't wait to get so relaxed. This is meant to be the good one because I'm so relaxed. I know how relaxed I need to be, which which makes me less relaxed. And then I was worried about like my clicker not working because I have slides in my show, and then like the lights had gone down for the second show to begin, which I needed to go well. And then I remember walking out and just checking my clicker, but then I was nervous because it wasn't working, and I tripped over in front of everyone.
Oh.
And it was dark, thankfully, so I don't think everyone saw, but I like went, oh, and
What was that noise again?
I made it a bit too more feminine than it actually was.
Right. I like that noise. You should stick with that noise.
I actually said, oh my God. And then...
God, you clarified.
But then, because I needed the second show to go well, because the first one hadn't gone well, I then didn't... Because stand-up's all about addressing the elephant in the room. I didn't address the elephant in the room. I just didn't mention the fall. I just thought... And then, so if you watch the special, which is called After the Fall, because all of it happened after the fall, you can see for the first few jokes, in my eyes, I'm thinking about the fall and, like, not really completely present because I'm thinking about the humiliating thing that occurred.
Wow.
But I'm owning it.
Yeah. Great. And that noise one more time before we let you go that you made.
Oh my God.
Oh, God.
Oh, that was a bit more sexual than the other.
Oh, no. Okay, there we go. Okay. That's good.
Let's stop before he changes it any further. Tickets to Tom's tour are on sale right now. Would you please thank Tom Cashman?
Yeah.
Nothing podcast as well.
Oh, yeah, really?
Well, our next guest is an author and wife of the former Prime Minister Bob Hawke. But we're speaking with her tonight because, among other reasons, she's just paid a male escort. We're going to find out why. Please welcome Blanche D'Alpuget.
OK, Blanche. I guess we know where we're starting.
Yeah.
Why were you paying a male sex escort?
Because I wanted some information.
Oh, OK.
And in fact, I paid two.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, nice.
What are you paying an hour these days for?
For
What do you mean these days?
Not these days, but yeah.
125 was all I paid.
That seems like a good deal.
Oh, yeah, well, they have a sliding scale.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So it depends on if they provide the best information or not as good.
This was just information.
Yeah, no, I understand. Yeah.
Like talking.
Yes, no,
information.
yeah.
Like this. Like, how much am I being paid?
For this?
For this.
Oh, it's a good,
I figured you'd be paying us 120.
The information is, of course, for your new book. Tell us about the Bunny Club. I mean, Steve was having a bit of a flick through before, and I've got to say, he was going a bit red.
Oh, Steve.
He was
You know
blushing.
me, Blanche,
I'm
I
sorry.
get easily embarrassed.
Well, a reclining virus. Yes. Well, it's a story of, amazingly, a television diva. Morning television, though.
Oh.
And she's the company's had enough of her. Studios had enough of her. They're trying to get rid of her. She's paid too much. She goes away for the weekend to her mansion in Bowral for a romantic meeting with a male escort, whom she sort of in her head doesn't think of as a male escort.
Oh, yeah.
She thinks of him as her boyfriend, and she ends up dead. In odd circumstances.
Oh. I thought they were going to live happily ever after. That went the other way at the end.
No, it went out the window.
Wow. OK, that's what do you think Bob would have made of this book and this?
He would have loved it.
Yeah, it's a great book.
Yeah.
It's quite saucy, isn't it?
Yes.
You've written lots of great books. Why this story? How did it come to you?
I'd never written a murder mystery before, and I just wanted to challenge myself with something new. I've written novels, biographies, historical fiction.
Have you ever?
Yeah, etc.
Lots of great books.
And this is a completely different genre. And crime fiction is the biggest genre, and it's also bigger than all other genres put together. So people really want it. At the moment, I think post-COVID and all the horrible things that are happening, they want escapist fiction. And crime fiction is, it does sound funny, but it's fun.
They escape with a murder.
Yes. Yes. Well,
But there's also sexual leads.
Yeah, OK, I understand.
We understand that you sent the book as well to your good friend Ita Buttrose, who used to work in morning television as well. And she also had a house in the Southern Highlands.
in Bowral. Which is where she'll be this weekend. When the book's being launched at the Manly Writers Festival. She unfortunately can't come because she's going down to Barrel for a birthday party.
Did she give you some good advice on what to do?
She was terrific.
Yeah.
She was really encouraging. She's always been terrific for women.
Yeah.
You know, very helpful to them.
Is it weird sending when you have a friend and you've written something and it's quite saucy or salacious? Is it weird sending that to a friend?
Salacious?
Well, it's like but is it weird giving it to a friend to read and kind of judge?
No.
Okay.
Cop that, Sam.
I've always wondered.
No.
Okay,
It's
very
not.
interesting.
No.
All right, thanks for clarifying. I just want to move on to, I guess, more sensitive matters. So you lost Bob in 2019.
Yes, I'm his widow, unfortunately, not his wife.
That's right.
Yeah, I didn't feel like, felt weird saying that.
What's life like without him?
Well, very different.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Not as funny, because he was a really, really funny guy. And he was a wonderful husband for me. A very, very indulgent and generous and affectionate husband. He was terrific.
You
Second
don't have
time
to put
round.
up-
I don't think he was a good husband first time round.
You don't have to put up with the cigar smoke anymore, though. That's a good thing.
Well, that's one thing.
Yes.
You're right. You're right there, Steve.
Politics, we're about to have an election. Do you keep an eye on it? And what is your assessment of what we might be?
Labor will win.
Quite easily?
Not easily, no. That was never going to be possible. It'll be a minority Labor government. I'm certain of that.
What do you think of Peter Dutton?
Personally, he's very amiable. Politically?
And Alvo?
He's very amiable.
Okay.
She's not
politically. Listen, I'm Labor.
Blanche's book is out now. Would you please say Blanche? See you tomorrow.